overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we grow through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. Our word is strong, the vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group. Community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we grow through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. And with the support of our success group, we're taking flight. With our word is strong, the vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group.
Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday and welcome to Rising Tide Talks. I'm Kylene with Rise, Shine, Smile.
I'm Becky Kutzer, and I believe it takes a village to run a business.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery. I'm with our success group, and we are here to inspire you to fall deeper in love with your business. And excited to be here with you guys today on this warm Wednesday where we're at. Becky, I don't know what it's like where you're at, but
I haven't been outside yet today. It's windy.
I wouldn't have actually known unless I just had run to the grocery store, which made me a couple minutes late. So, but Becky, what are we talking about today?
Today we are going to talk about craving feedback and how valuable it is to our business.
Awesome. Yeah. It'll be a really good conversation. Just kind of, hopefully we can kind of reframe what feedback means, right? Because we'll talk about this more as we get into it, but I know that it can be a little scary, right? To go, oh, I want feedback. I want to hear how I'm doing, right? So anyhow, it'll be a great conversation today. Kylene, where should we start? Actually, sorry. I forgot one thing I wanted to add here real quick. For those of you that are tuned in live right now, Chuck, hello, good evening. Thanks for being here. Everybody else, just take a quick moment here. We'll slowly ease into gratitude here. But if you guys can take a quick moment, hit the share button, share it with your other friends. Make sure that we get lots of people into the comments here so we broaden our perspective on this conversation here today. So, all right. Thank you, Kylene. Now I will turn it over to you for the gratitude.
Yes. We want to start with gratitude like we do in all of our shows, just to bring more positive energy. When we truly appreciate the things in our life, we start attracting even more good things. So we're going to bring as much positive energy as we can tonight. So if you are listening, please share what you are grateful for. Becky, do you want to go first and share what you're grateful for today?
I sure can. I shared this in our meeting the other day, but I am grateful for our school teachers. All the ones from the high school that are there and the elementary, I just give them kudos to do the job that they do. I couldn't do it. and not just the teachers, the administration and all the support staff that goes with it. They're back at work and back at school here anyways. They got 3 days in last week. We get 4 days this week, 4 days next week, and then maybe a full week. So we ease them in a little bit, but I am just grateful that they are there to continue to educate my children.
There you go.
Love that. That's awesome.
Love it. Awesome.
How about you,
All
Aaron?
Man, so many things. All the things, is that right, Becky?
All the things.
All the things, all the things. No, I'm really grateful. I'm going to say I'm really grateful for this space that we, we're around business owners all the time, but sometimes we're kind of really directly related to our decorators, our friends that make shirts and things like that. And I get the honor of actually emceeing the Media Day event that Printing United is doing here in a couple weeks, and we had a call today going through all the details, and it was really cool to just hear they're trying something new with their Media Day. So they bring all the media in. They're actually flying all of the media people in. The big companies are sponsoring this event, and they're gonna have like one-on-one meetings. So the idea is that the press conference is dead, and it's a new media opportunity to just have some really good conversations and learn about the reality of what's going on in these businesses. So just excited to be a part of that. Really cool people. So fun to be around that. But how about you, Becky?
Let's go to Eileen.
Oh, I think no. See, Becky and our meeting.
You're grateful for. There's a lot.
Wow.
For me today, I am just really grateful for my family and my circle, my extended family, Becky including, that includes you. I have such a wonderful group of people around me all the time, always encouraging me and supporting me. And I just feel really fortunate that I have that in my life. So really grateful for that.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Rena says, super excited to be attending my first Printing United. That's all three of us are going to be there. So that's really cool that we
first.
Right? In fact, during the show, we may do a little, it won't be quite like this, but we'll do a little impromptu Rising Tide talks there on that Wednesday of the show. So should be fun.
Yes.
Awesome. So speaking of gratitude, Becky, you have put together a little program for us. You asked a question out there in the Facebook group about who'd be into this, and lots of people raised their hands. So you want to explain a little bit?
So it was actually 2 weeks ago already. It just kind of, my plate fell apart, so it fell off my plate to not get done before this. But there was a 21-day gratitude challenge kind of posted around, and so I put that in the group, and there was, like Erin said, lots of interest in that. So I have that all set up and scheduled and ready to go for us. It is going to start tomorrow morning. Day one will post. It kind of gives you a little bit of a prompt for the day, and then we would just really love to hear your gratitude for that day, whether it's something pertaining to what day one or day two or whatever the day is about, or just in general your gratitude. We would just love to hear that. I just think, as we say, the vibrations will rise, and I just think having that come through each day, whether you see it in the morning or at night or whenever you see it, we would just love to have you guys post on that and add some extra gratitude to our world.
Yeah. Love it.
It is amazing when you read other people and just hear other people share their gratitude. It does impact you in a positive way, and reminds you of all the amazing things too that you have in your life.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing That's awesome.
Yeah, it is really awesome. Thank you for putting all that together, Becky. I know you've had your plates were spinning, and so another plate to put up on the stick there, but it's really cool. I had the fortune of getting to kind of get a sneak peek of what you'll see prompt wise, and I think that's the part I'm most excited about too. Is just, it seems weird, but occasionally I feel like I can get stuck in the gratitude, right? Like not that that's a bad thing, right? It's always reminds me of but to realize that there's even more depth of things that I really do have to be grateful for. I just don't always see them so much. So having these prompts is going to be a great way to do that. So I'd encourage everybody to just pop in there. It's going to take you 30 seconds, right? Pop in there, type real quick. You can, Facebook's like, oh man, Facebook, it sucks me in. Okay. Set a timer, right? 1 minute. Type your gratitude, jump out, right? So, and then when you are scrolling, then come back to the group, and you can scroll through everybody else's gratitude instead of all of the trash that you're seeing out there right now, from the political fighting to everything else, right? So, we can skip all that. We just have to be intentional. There's that word we started already.
Yes. I like it.
All right. So let's dive into our conversation. Becky, you said we were talking about feedback here today, and so let's dive right into that. Maybe start us off with maybe let's get the folks talking, right? We want to hear what their thoughts are on feedback. So what would be a good question to ask them?
Well, this is a hard one for me because I don't do this. But, what's the most valuable piece of feedback that you've ever received? And then how did it change your approach to your business? So,
Okay.
yeah, feedback is one of those things that I think we all need. And I think we all get it, whether we realize it or not. But being that intentional feedback part is probably where I've struggled the most. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, that, and I think that's what's really cool about this conversation is I don't know. I mean, I certainly can't speak for everybody, but I'm pretty sure most people do have those moments. Or, I mean, I'm at a place now where, like I said, I crave feedback. That's the fundamental in the book, is called crave feedback. But that was not the way it was. I was in that space of like, la 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 la. I don't want to hear it. I just hope that it's good. Please don't tell me I did bad. Right? I wanted to please everybody, and that just wasn't working. I wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't getting any better. So we'll talk about all of that. But yeah, I think that's a great question. What's the most valuable piece of feedback you've ever received? And maybe go a little bit deeper. How did it change your approach to doing business? Okay, so I'm going to chase the shiny objects here real quick because we got a couple of gratitudes I want to add in before we get. Yep. Chandler says, I'm grateful for my friends and family who support me in my business. And Chuck says, I'm grateful for my health, seeing many people around being diagnosed with life-threatening illnesses. So just having that health and being grateful for that and focusing on what you do have there. Right. Yeah. So that's good stuff, Chuck. Okay. Well, I guess, and again, this is definitely not my topic per se, but something that I've obviously put a lot of thought into by writing a chapter of my book about it. We do have to get to that mindset of embracing feedback, right? And so I guess the first topic that, and I won't, unless you guys have an answer to that first question, what's the most valuable piece of feedback you ever received? I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you don't, so either do that, or the first kind of thought that comes to mind for me is why we need to embrace feedback is your built-in GPS system, right? If you're heading towards a North Star, right? Like you get in your car and you don't know where you're going. Let's say you're trying to drive across the state and you've never been to this place before, and you just jump in your car and you start driving. Okay, maybe you got a general direction, but let's say you have made a wrong turn, but you've got no way to course correct, right? I mean, what are your options? You keep going way off track and you get further and further away from your destination, or you get frustrated and you give up and you turn around, right? Now, you could stop and ask for help, but guess what? That's feedback. Right? That's feedback. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about this idea of feedback as a GPS system. So Becky, what does that mean to you?
Well, that means I'm going to move forward in my business and not continue to stumble.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at right now. I have another issue with a set of shirts. I had it a couple of years ago and I thought I had it fixed. So the course correction and the creative feedback part of me is, okay, I have a problem. And now I will be asking the questions. I will be going back to square one. I will be going to the experts in the field and, is it my press? Is it my transfers? Is it my pressure? What am I doing wrong? Because I'm obviously doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So, or I'm going to say no to these shirts going forward. I don't know. I really want to fix it because I don't want to have to say no going forward. I want to be able to know why what I'm doing is not working. That's how I am. Yeah. That's who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you would have buried your head in the sand, so to speak, right? If you would have said, nope, I don't want feedback. I'm avoiding it. Right. The hope is they just go away. And then and then they might just go away. And while they're going away, they're telling all of their friends about how crummy your shirts were and how bad the service was and yada, yada, yada. Right. So again, you can choose to avoid feedback. We just don't believe that it's going to help you get where you want to go. Right. So, is that,
nope. I mean, and I've already put the message back to, you know, I want the shirts back. I want to see them. You know, any ones will either be fixed or they'll be replaced. That's what I do. So
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yep. But you wouldn't know that if you weren't open to listening to the feedback, right? So it might not look like, you know, you have to go and ask everybody to their face, hey, how do you think I did? You know, rate my deal. Like, we'll talk about the types of feedback here, but just being open to it, I think, is a first step, and understanding that that's your GPS could really help you open up that mindset to it. So, Kylene, what do you think about that whole idea?
Well, I mean, it's sometimes it is, and we've talked a little bit about it, alluded to it. You know, it's scary to open yourself up to it because it can feel uncomfortable to know you're potentially not meeting your customers' needs, or inside it creates those negative feelings. So you kind of shy away from it and just continue to move forward. But what if, like Aaron was saying, you're off course and you just keep going that way, and then how many months go by and you could have been on course, but you never paused to have those deeper conversations with yourself, you know, just pausing for a moment and reflecting, where am I? What am I feeling right now? We all know when we get the negative feeling inside, something's probably not quite right. We just have to learn to listen to that and be, like you said, be open to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Okay. All right. Well, just ask again. So if those of you that are tuned in live right now, or maybe listening in the comment to the replay, and go ahead and put in the comments here, what's the most valuable piece of feedback you've ever received? And you know, maybe if you want to go deeper, tell us, how did it change your approach to business? So Kylene, you already just alluded to it right there. And I think this is also crucial. In fact, Becky, I think this is what kind of spawned this whole conversation, honestly, is this fear of what the feedback is, right? We hear feedback and I think we all immediately go, oh yeah, the negative stuff, right? But that's not always true. Feedback can be, hey, you did a great job. Okay, cool. Now that's feedback and I can do more of that. Again, that keeps me going in the right direction. But Becky, you know, I can't remember exactly what your comment was in the Facebook group that put this out there, but you were awesome because you were very vulnerable about your feelings about feedback. Talk to us about that, right? Like that fear. What is it that has sometimes kept you from craving feedback?
I think it's like you said, it's the fear of hearing the negative. You know, maybe you didn't do something right. Maybe somebody didn't quite like what you did. Yeah. But after having that conversation and having your answer come back at me, I think I realized that I asked for it way more than I realized. Yeah. I mean, every time I send a design to a customer and say, what do you think? Obviously that's feedback. I mean, they're either going to like it or they're not. If they don't like it, I'm going to we're going to make adjustments until they do like it. So again, it is that uncommon mindset of realizing that feedback is not just the negative side of it. And that's where my entire thought process when you posted that was, I don't want to hear the bad stuff. I want to tune that out. I'm afraid to hear the bad stuff. So I don't, and then just putting yourself out there in front of people. I mean, trying to get things to work, or, however that works for you, but just, it's all about putting yourself in front of people and whether they like your, it's not so much whether they like you or not, but just that's, I think, what it goes through your head is, will they or won't they?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and Kylene, let you jump in here, but you're kind of in a way, almost what I'm hearing a little bit is this concept of, it's the story that we're then telling ourselves, right? If I ask for feedback, the feedback I'm going to get is, this is blankety blank, it's negative, right? So okay, that's real, right? That's what we deal with. And so I think, again, reframing this idea of feedback can be crucial for us. So, Kylene?
And the other thing I'd add to that too, is exactly what I was going to say, but asking for feedback from people outside of maybe your friends and family that want to make you feel good. We can find the people that are going to tell us what we want to hear, keep us in our safe place. While we need those people, it's also good to ask for feedback from people who will give you that honest reflection of whatever experience they had with you. So asking that first time customer, maybe, what did you think of this? Because we're not going to be right for everyone, and that's okay, but we have to have the information to move forward.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Chandler said, my best advice, AKA feedback, is be yourself.
Yeah.
And she followed that up and said, I've made more positives being myself instead of a schmoozer, somebody that she's not. Right. Yeah. She's all about relationships and stuff like that. So Chandler, thank you very much. And then hello, Allison. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. Okay, well, let's keep a little bit on this idea of fear, because Becky, the other thing that you said in there was that you kind of started to realize that you get a lot more feedback than you kind of knew, and you're open to it too. So those are all good things, because honestly, feedback is all around us at all times. Again, we have this thought that, okay, feedback is me saying, Kylene, what do you think of dinner tonight? Oh, it was dry and crappy. Okay, now I feel bad about myself, right? That was me, Kylene, not you. She's shaking her head at me.
The answer I always get is just pretty good. So I don't know if it's pretty good or pretty good bad, or.
But that is feedback,
I'm gonna
right?
stay quiet on this one.
Yeah. Okay, I got myself off track there, but so that's what we think it is. But really, the other part is like the non-verbal feedback. If we're going back to the meal thing, right? Like your kids like shoving things around on the plate, trying to hide it, spitting stuff in the napkin. Whether or not that we need to take in that feedback, that kid does not like that meal, so that's feedback as well. So we can see feedback without having to hear it, right? If we're, again, getting ourselves to that place where we're craving feedback, because I think the most important thing to me in this whole mindset of this is, as we talk about overcoming fear, looking at what the different types of feedback are, realizing that it's really all around us all times if we're willing to open our eyes. But it's also this understanding that it's a tool rather than a threat. So what does that mean to you? Becky, I've been making you start off, so let me try Kylene here first to give you put Kylene on the spot for a second.
Yeah. Well, it's truly a tool that can help us move forward. Because if we don't use it, we stay in the same spot and we don't grow. And I think all of us here listening, if we start our own business, we all know that part of being successful is that, continued learning and growing. And so using it for good. So even if you get that negative feedback, that's information for you to learn from. And so it is a tool that we can use to adjust if needed.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. How about you, Becky? What's your...
Yep. I agree. I agree completely with Kylene there on that continuous learning. I mean, you have to keep adding to it, take what you can from it and move forward. It's going to be continuous. It's not a one-time thing. It's, the next time you do another project, you're going to get feedback on that. It's a continuous process of continuous learning, moving forward. Like you said, if we don't take that information from there and learn something from it, we're going to stall out. We're going to not grow. We're going to go backwards. We're go off course, however you want to say that part for your business. And again, most of us here and those listening all own your own business. And we, like Kylene said, it's a vital part of being successful in our business is to continue to grow. And part of that is continuing to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'd love to ask another question of the live viewers and the people that are watching the replay in the comments as well. Just like, how do you solicit feedback, right? Like what's it look like for you? Are you looking for more verbal feedback, or you feel like you can tune into some nonverbal feedback? we'll talk a little bit more deeply about the different styles of feedback, because there's actually one other bit of feedback, but that's a little teaser. Let's save that for but the other part about craving feedback is we need to understand that we don't have to take it all in, right? Like, we're not going to please everyone, right? So again, I'm going to pick on Kylene. I don't know why I do this, because she can hit me. Becky can't. I don't know. Well, not right now. Maybe in 2 weeks. I'll remember.
Save it for Vegas,
right?
Yeah. But let's just say, Kylene gave me this feedback and it was really negative, and I go, I don't know if I agree with that, right? I mean, I don't have to tell Kylene, oh, you're a dummy. That's not right. No. I shouldn't argue with the feedback, by the way. That's really important for us. The best way to stop getting feedback is to try to argue with somebody about why they're wrong about their feedback. Just take the feedback and say thank you. Hey, thanks for the feedback. Now, here's the trick, though. You can take that feedback and go, yep, thanks for the feedback. Peace out. Right. See you later. That's fine. That's your opinion. Great. Right. What we need to do as business owners, and just really as people that are craving feedback so we can continue to grow, is to say, okay, thanks for the feedback. Let me catalog that. Let me log that in. Right. So Kylene didn't like that. Okay. Well, maybe it was just Kylene was the only one. And I just leave that kind of in the database in the back of my head. Right. But now if I start to see a pattern, okay, Becky doesn't like it. Allison doesn't like it. Chuck doesn't like it. Chandler doesn't like it. Now there's a pattern that I need to address something with. So I guess, and I'm going back to you here, Becky, like, have you seen that as well, as especially now that I know that we were just talking in the comments there. And so you do get feedback, but just kind of more as you're seeing that, are you looking for patterns as well?
I'm probably not as good about that yet. Okay. I mean, there again, though, is it something I'm just not paying attention to? So I'm seeing it without really like truly sitting down and acknowledging different things. There's patterns throughout it. So yes, I know there's patterns happening, and then that feedback comes from my son that says, we've had enough black shirts, Mom, find something else. Okay, let's find something else. I mean, but there again, when you start putting things out there, and I can do it would be a very easy feedback for me at this point. I can run a report out of my orders from the last few web stores to say what color sold, which one sold the most, what, that would be where I would start looking for my patterns, coming back that way.
Yeah. So I love that. That's a great idea to prove the hypothesis, right? Because in a way, that's kind of what I'm talking about with that is, right, that may be a hypothesis, that may be, again, picking on Kylene's opinion, right? But it's my choice to then either react to that feedback, because I don't, just because you crave feedback, I don't believe that you should react to every bit of feedback. You should acknowledge every bit of feedback and be grateful for it, but beyond that, sometimes we just need to let it be, right? And so I think that's important for us. So Kylene, what's your take?
I was just going to say, consider the source of where the feedback's coming from. If it's coming from someone who's not your ideal customer, okay, next, but it is, it's just something you have to be aware of. And like you guys said, having that uncommon mindset to want that, and pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So I also think, sorry, Aaron, I also think for us that are people pleasers, when something goes wrong, we take it so personal that we take that and internalize it. And I think that's the other part too, is you need that feedback is not coming back at you personally.
Yes.
That it's, it's part of the business, and that's where you need to learn and grow from it. So
yes. Love it. Love it. So true, Becky. Yeah, for sure. That's a high five. Kind of like when I posted that picture of that shirt online, Kylene. I got
That was
feedback.
wonderful, by the way. Thank you, everyone.
I don't think I commented, but I did giggle.
He held it up. I'm like, no, it's not for you. And then I didn't even know he did that until we got home. So.
Yes, I got put back in my place, which was good. I needed that.
No one saw the other item that you wanted my feedback on either.
Well, I did listen to you on that one.
I was going to say he didn't want the feedback on that one.
I did not.
Yeah.
All right. Rena says sometimes you crave feedback, of course, the positive ones, and so Kylene, you already talked about this a little bit. I think it's really important too, right? That we do need that, right? We need to kind of have that balance of the positive. But if all the feedback you're ever getting is that it's all good and everything's positive and you never kind of get that, but maybe there's an opportunity to grow, then guess what? You're not finding any opportunities to grow. So you need to push yourself out there. I know that Rena's kind of tongue in cheek a little bit with that, but from that standpoint, it is important that we understand that if you're getting nothing but positive feedback, that might be a sign that you need to kind of widen your pool of feedback a little bit. So, okay. Well, I think we covered kind of the first half there. Is there anything else kind of from that side of like importance of embracing feedback that we need to cover before we take a quick break?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Well, let's take a quick break. We got a really exciting event coming up. We had such a great time in June, and all the feedback we got from folks in June allowed us to even make October that much better. And so we're excited about what's happening October 10th through the 12th here in O'Fallon, Missouri. So let's hear a little bit about that. The Fundamentals Live event is back and better than ever. Our last event was a huge success, and we're always striving to improve. This time, we've made it even more exclusive with only 10 seats available, and we've extended it to be even more valuable. Fundamentals Live is scheduled for October 10th through the 12th, 2024 in St. Louis, Missouri. Details can be found at osg.link/funlive. If you know it's time to transform your business from have to into get to, if you're ready to be more fulfilled and take back control of your business and life, this is the experience you need. October 10th through the 11th, you will put the fundamentals into action and walk away with a blueprint to manage a business that truly fulfills you. If you are feeling overwhelmed and undervalued, reach out to me and let's talk about what villains are holding you back. Don't wait to sign up for Fundamentals Live. October 10th through the 12th is the time you need to come together with other like-minded business owners. I have personally seen the clarity, confidence, and fulfillment this experience will bring you, and we want you to be a part of that. Don't let your hesitation stand between you and the success that you deserve. Reserve your seat today at osg.link/funlive. We'll see you in October. All right. Well, we are very excited about it. So since we're on this topic of feedback, before we get into the second part of this, can I ask our live audience and the folks that are tuned into the comments here for some feedback? That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So I'm really curious what is potentially holding people back from saying, hey, this is something I want to do, I need to do for my business, maybe even getting to that point, right? So I'm just curious, is there a specific thing that's holding you back? You know, I know in June we heard a lot about the date wasn't exactly right. You know, so what does October look like date wise? Is it financial, right? Like, for example, what if we just said, you know what, this is so important that we get people here and we just change the price to be, I don't know, cover our expenses, $100, $200, something like that. I just want feedback. And so I'm trying to give people some ideas of ways to, you know, come at this, but I'm just curious, right? If you think that this could be right for your business, what has held you back from saying, yes, I'm going to at least reach out to Aaron and ask if there's a way we can work through this? Or you guys know problem solving is my like superpower. I live for that every day. So anyhow, that's my feedback. I don't know, Becky, Kylene, you guys, what's your take on that? Is there a better way to ask for that feedback?
Well, the only thing I was going to say is if you are not wanting to talk to Aaron, you can call or message Kylene or I if we're not as scary.
And then you can tell them the feedback why I'm so scary, and that'll help me too. Just kidding. No,
I can just
I
remember being nervous to when I first started working with you, being nervous to reach out to you, to be bothering you, to all that, you know.
Yeah.
So if for some reason that reaching out to Aaron sounds like it's hard or whatever, he's not scary unless we have to.
Listen, he's not scary unless we have no plan.
Oh,
I hold people
funny.
Accountable a little bit. Yes, I
but
understand.
You know, if for some reason you'd rather chat with one of us, you know, Kylene or I, whatever, we would absolutely, you know, work with you too, and play middleman or whatever needs to happen. But we would love to hear what everybody is feeling on that, and how we can try to get it better or make it better or anything like that.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Like, let us know where you're at. So, you know, maybe we're not clear about what exactly it is. Maybe you just aren't quite sure what to expect. You know, sometimes you have to hear it a different way from someone else to truly understand.
It's like our kids.
Yeah.
How many times that we told our kids something and then some stranger tells them the same thing and they're like, "Oh, that was so smart." And you're like, "Yeah, I've been telling you that for 5 years."
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, you guys. And yeah, thank you guys for being willing to give us feedback too. We very much appreciate any feedback that we can ever get. You know, our goal is, again, to help people transform from have to into get to, and just watching what you guys have been able to do. You know, Becky was there, Kylene was there, Allison was there, Chandler was there. Just seeing what's happened since June, it's like a drug to me right now, you guys. So I'm like jonesing. All right. So let's get into this second half here, where let's turn this feedback into action, right? Let's kind of look at feedback a little bit more nuts and bolts here. So Becky, what do you think we can do to help people kind of engage in this conversation here?
Well, I think what we need to think about is, you know, like, what's one area of your business that you're curious to get feedback on, but you haven't asked yet? And then why would that be? You know, what's holding you back to getting to that point?
Yeah. Like maybe what makes it uncomfortable, you know, I mean, being vulnerable, like I just was there. If you were talking to me 3-4 years ago, I would have never done that. Right. Because I would have just been like, "Oh, it's so great. We got so many interested people. It's awesome." Right. Like, you kind of want to, you know, put your best foot forward. At least that's how I used to operate. And I think, you know, sometimes we get to that place where, I really would like to know. I almost maybe need to know because I'm struggling here, or I'm stuck here, or whatever. But you just haven't been willing to get uncomfortable enough to ask. So that's a really good question for folks. So if you guys are willing to be vulnerable with us, we're happy to discuss that with you, for sure. Okay. Well, again, this is an area of mine that another passion project for me here. So if you guys didn't know there was going to be homework, but if you if you have the paperback copy of the book, turn to page 277 in the book.
I even went and pulled mine out.
Yeah, I have mine out too in front of me.
All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is in there we've got these 4 quadrants of, and I think we talked a little bit about them, but there's 4 quadrants of feedback. So you've got verbal and nonverbal, and I'll see if I can put it on the screen.
You didn't have a happy graphic ready, Aaron?
I could pull it up. You're right. Darn it.
I
did not, Becky. Thank you for reminding me. So we got verbal and nonverbal, and then we have positive and negative, right? And so I'll give you some examples. Positive. So in the top left quadrant here, positive and verbal feedback would be, you know, a customer says, "Your presentation today was highly informative and engaging." Okay, that's feedback, right? Great. Whatever I did there, let me try to repeat that. Now, the nonverbal positive feedback could look like a customer's placing a second order, but this time more quantity than the previous order. That's positive feedback that they liked your products and services, and there. Right. And then here's where we get into the scary part, right? the verbal negative feedback, right? Customer might say, I found the instructions for your product quite confusing, right? And Becky, you talked at the beginning of this about the fact that sometimes when we hear those things, we do want to internalize that. When it, oh well, my instructions were great. It's you, or oh man, I really am bad at writing instructions. Right? We can go either way.
Right.
So again, we hear that one time, we internalize it like that, and then we just want to avoid that yucky feeling from here on out. Right. So does that kind of resonate with you, Becky?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
You too, Kylene?
Yeah, it happened today.
There you go. That's true. Yep. Valid point. Yeah. And it fully resonates with me. But then here's the other part, right? The negative nonverbal still can feel a little rough, right? Like your customer returns the product right after purchasing it, right? They don't really tell you why, but it's a return and right. So, and Barb, you're a star student here. You're getting ahead. She says, I don't think it's negative, but an opportunity to improve. Right. And that's the mindset. So Barb, you get a star. So, okay. So those are kind of the 4 quadrants, right? That's what we think about. But here is what might be the most crucial bit of feedback that we don't think about often enough. And that is the internal feedback. All right. And so, Kylene, what do you think the internal feedback might look like for somebody?
Oh, gosh. Let's say anxiety, it shows up, stress. It can show up with headaches. It can show up just lack of focus, procrastination, all those negative things that we feel inside. That's where it can show up.
Yep, for sure. Now, interesting. I appreciate that you shared that way, right? Those internal things. But, and again, this is where we all go with feedback. You just listed off all these, what people would consider negative scenarios, right? But that internal feedback can also show up as, I'm really proud of what I did. There's joy, there's peace, there's happiness, there's harmony, right? And so that's feedback too. And so, Becky, as you're thinking about feedback and listening, especially as we talk about this internal feedback, right? What does that make you think?
Well, I mean, it's all those feelings, anywhere from getting that positive ones all the way down to the negative ones, and trying to remember to celebrate those wins, like we talk about, and keep that positive side flowing. But again, it's trying not to hang on to the internal, especially the internal negative side. That's where I think we get stuck. And then once we've heard that and how powerful our mind is, our mind continues to replay that. And so then we make it bigger and worse than it really is.
It's really, oh, sorry, Aaron.
No, go ahead, Kai. You're fine.
I was just going to add to that, it's becoming aware of when those feelings arise, and then looking for those patterns, and then you get to grow and add a more positive habit in there, or use gratitude in that moment. Help yourself move forward instead of, like Becky said, rehearsing that event over and over, and get more and more of the negative.
And I think, Kylene, I don't remember if this was last week or you've talked about this somewhere, but this concept of negativity bias, right? And that's what's going on with our feedback. And like Becky just said, and you were following up with there, we're more tuned into the negative stuff, right? So you could have had great, both internal and external feedback all day long. Oh my gosh, love doing business with you. This is great. Yes, I want more. I feel really proud of this. And then again, you have the one person that's like, nah, this wasn't good. You're bad, whatever. And that's the story that we replay over and over again. And so I think, again, as business owners, we got to understand that mindset really is crucial for us. And I think that's why, to me, in the book, I wanted to break down what those quadrants were, So then we can kind of better get our arms around it, right? Because,
Mhm.
okay, I might get negative feedback from somebody, but again, I don't have to take that, right?
Mhm.
I just accept it, say thank you, but I don't need to choose to play it over and over again, right? I can choose to play the story over and over again of the good feedback that I've got and then leaning into that. So again, it's not all about avoiding the negative feedback, but understand that we do have that negativity bias that will show up if we're not being intentional. So,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
then to put you on the spot, Aaron,
Yeah,
like
please.
before you kind of started this whole journey, before it was really hard for you to look for the growth points in the positive,
Yeah.
because you were so like, there's a problem, I'm going to solve it. And you're just so focused on always,
I,
you were looking for the problems
yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
And
I,
I'm like, you're doing so much good. Like
yeah.
celebrate that and build on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, that's really important note for sure. Yeah, I had X-ray vision on the problems. I could pick out every problem, right? And the the challenge became is that's all I was focused on, and so the solutions stopped coming because all I could see was the problems.
Yeah.
And Kylene really did help me understand, hey, there's good happening here too. And when I focus on that, now the feedback becomes more clear, right? Yes, I can see where there's room for improvement. Like Barb had said, it's an opportunity to improve, but I can also understand that there has been success. And so I'm coming from, this is another thing that I love saying is I'd rather do things from a place of inspiration as opposed to desperation.
Mhm.
And when all you're doing is focusing on the negatives, that's going to create desperation, right? Nothing ever works. The sky is falling, all of those feelings. And you're never going to get anything creative and productive out of that space, right? And whether we're talking mentality, just try interacting with your customers if you're replaying the bad situation that happened 30 minutes before, right? Even though this next customer is probably like, happy, can't wait to do business with you, you're still playing that bad story, and now you're changing that opportunity with that customer too. They're going to go, oh, I guess I did something wrong. I'm not sure I
Right.
feel comfortable going back and
Mhm.
working with Aaron anymore, right? And nothing to there. It's just you held on to that longer than you needed to.
Yep.
So, yeah. Okay.
And that's where I think our gratitude comes back, because we can't be mad and upset if we're grateful for what we have.
Absolutely.
Most
Absolutely.
definitely. Yep.
Thanks for joining us, Darren. Thanks for being here. Good to see you. Okay, so I want to touch on two other quick things here real quick, and really kind of practical application, I guess, would be both of these things a little bit. But let's use the example of a product that's just not selling, right? You put something out there, you think it's great, and it just doesn't sell, right? Like we can. I think going back to what Kylene was talking about, where I was in that space, I would have just gone, oh my gosh, darn it. And maybe I would have tried a whole bunch of things, but I would have just been trying a whole bunch of things and not seeing the actual feedback, right? Because there is feedback in that situation, but all I could focus on was the negative, right? And so if we let go of it and go to Barb's mindset here to look at these things as an opportunity for improvement, then we can start asking the important questions, right? The why questions, and really truly experimenting with change as opposed to just trying anything else and hoping that it's going to stick. So Becky, what, like when you think about that, like asking those why questions, right?
Mhm.
What does that look like for you, or where does that kind of lead for you?
Well, I think there's a lot there, because you said put a product out there for sale. Okay.
Yeah.
Where did you post it? Who saw it? Did anybody see it?
Yeah.
Was what it was or what you were offering clear? Or is it confusing as far as what you're actually going to get? And then, do you need to refine how that works? Do you know your ideal customer? Is that what you're offering? Are you offering something to your ideal customer, or are you looking for, the ocean full of people that don't really apply.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of whys in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And when you ask all those questions without judgment of the answers, that's where true understanding, clarity, improvement comes from. But when we judge all of those things, we put the label of positive or negative on them, then again, I think that's where it stifles our creativity. It stifles our opportunity to improve. So, Kylie, what do you think about that?
I mean, it's huge. I remember when I started our printing side of the business, but then was also starting to do more mindset and yoga and all the things for you, Becky. um,
I love that it comes back.
I know, me too. But I wasn't successful at first because I was trying to be everything to everyone, and I wasn't paying attention to why that was. You know, I had to be open to receiving it, even though, Masters of Success group and Aaron, everyone was really helpful in telling me, okay, your message isn't clear. No one has any idea what you do, because you just almost vomit on them sometimes with all the things. So it was that feedback, once I was open to receiving it, that I could clarify and get more clear to reach that ideal customer.
Totally. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And again, still open if you guys want to talk about it. What areas of your business are you needing feedback in, but maybe haven't? What's that? What might be holding you back, right? Again, going in without judgment of whether that's good or bad or whatever. It's just uncomfortable. It's okay whether it should be uncomfortable or not be uncomfortable. That there's no bearing there, because the truth is it's just uncomfortable for you right now. So that's the only reality. And so I guess, again, just being open and out there. And when we start asking these things in this is not public, guys. We've got 7 people tuned in live right now. Right. So we can, but it could be out there. Sure. But I think that's the cool part, right? That's where real feedback comes. That's where we really can kind of get engaged. So, sorry, I kind of got off on a little tangent there, but I just really want people to feel like they can to have these conversations, even though we're in a chat room here on YouTube or Facebook right now. So, okay. So anything else about that kind of like asking why? I do have one more story to tell. But you guys know me. I've always got one more story. So,
did you see Barb's comment that says Aaron's book is really good on addressing negativity and how to deal with it?
Oh, thank you, Barb.
He has read your book.
Thank you, Barb. I appreciate that. I'm going to give you a round of applause and appreciate that comment and feedback, right? So that's really cool, because now I can utilize that to go, hey, you're struggling with how to deal with negativity. Well, Barb said this might help you. Then I can, right. So now I can improve my message. Right. So, that's really cool. And it motivates me to do more. Right. So that's another reason why we want to be open to feedback both. And there was another thing that I struggled with mightily for even accepting positive feedback. Oh, well, I'm not trying to boast about it. But that's the way I felt, because I was so busy labeling all the feedback that I forgot what the value was in it. So, okay. That wasn't the story though. All right. So Becky, you and I actually talked about this a little bit earlier today. So you just heard this story, but, so I started working with my own business coach, and we had our first call yesterday, and, he asked me some questions, and I gave him the answers to these questions. And he said, do you know that to be true? He was basically asking me, is the message that we're sharing resonating with people? And I'm like, no, I don't know that to be true. That's why I'm working with you, right? I've been guessing this whole time, and it's not really seeming to kind of connect up. And so I thought this was really kind of a bow tie for me on this whole concept of craving feedback. Is sometimes we need to stop guessing, right? And that pushes us to get a little outside of our comfort zone. So he assigned me homework. He wants me to reach out to 10 potential ideal partners for our success group and have a conversation with them. Like actually have whether it's a Zoom call, a phone call, or a face-to-face meeting with them, and just ask them about themselves, and no selling, none of just ask them. And it really did come back to the fact that sometimes we need to stop guessing, right? We hear the feedback and then we guess what the potential opportunity is there, and we just keep guessing and hope that we're going to find it. But sometimes you do have to stop and go, okay, I've heard the feedback. I know I need to make a change on the feedback. I need to do something hard here, and I need to push up against my comfort zone. So what does that mean to you guys? Whoever wants to go first there.
Well, sometimes it means you have to completely pivot, or whatever you're working on isn't maybe working, and so we need to pivot and either go in the opposite direction or just revise, relook at what it is, try to make that message more clear, as far as what the offer is or what the product is that you're trying to put out there.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's where the growth mindset really comes into play, and being direct and asking people very clearly, knowing that the feedback you get, it might not be what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear. Right. Yeah. And so, yeah, sometimes it's just getting direct and like you said, pivot. That's change, and we all know what happens when we have to change. We have those feelings arise, we acknowledge them, and know that they're there, and then come back to the gratitude of the opportunity to have that change. Yep.
So I know this isn't Small Business Saturdays, but Becky, I'd love to assign some homework here. and you guys can play along if you'd like, but going back to that original post, the question was in there, how could you get some more feedback? I think it was something along that line. So I'd love for you guys to spend this week between now and when we get together for Rising Tide Talks next week, just going out there and actually getting feedback that, again, going back to that original question, what is it something that maybe you could use a little bit more information about in your business that you could, push up? I'm not asking anybody to get way outside their comfort zone, go do something that you're not, I'm not saying, oh, you've never been on live video before, you should just do a live video, or
sometimes
whatever.
People make you, though.
Yeah, sometimes. But then they make you do it with friends, and it's fun. And
then it's better.
Conversation. Yes. Yeah. No. So, my point being, just do that. See what happens, you guys. I'm really curious to hear from you guys what you learned about it. What again, let go of the labels. Just come back with what the opportunities were there. What did you see? What going back to that opportunity to improve, right? So maybe you didn't hear anything, or maybe whatever it is, it doesn't matter. That's the cool part about this homework. There's no grading key, so everybody gets a gold star. All right. Well, I didn't have anything else. I appreciate the conversation that you guys had, and I appreciate you again, Becky, being so wonderful to just be willing to put yourself out there like that and say, hey, I've not done feedback, and then really be open to saying, well, actually I have. I just got to be a little more intentional about it. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
It's something we definitely learn, and like you said, if you aren't really looking forward or having that uncommon mindset with it, you don't realize what you're getting in the feedback. You're not paying attention to that part. And I think that was the part for me, is in my brain I didn't physically ask somebody for feedback. Yes, I ask if they like a design or something like that, but when I'm asking that question, I wasn't viewing it as true feedback, I guess.
Yeah.
So
you're just looking at it like, I got to get to the next step. Do you like the design? Great.
Yep.
Moving forward. Yeah. Totally. Really good stuff. Kylene, you have any closing thoughts, or you want to close this out here?
No, I love this. I love being intentional with feedback, because for me, it is that blind spot sometimes to only look at the positive stuff, right? or to hang on to some negative stuff. So this is a really good conversation today.
Awesome. Love it. All right.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here today and joining us. It's always great to connect with other entrepreneurs. Remember, the journey of entrepreneurship is not a solo trip. We're here to support each other and lift each other up. Like Aaron said, join us over in the Facebook group, osg.link/group. We'd love to hear any takeaways. Keep this conversation going. Go back to that post about feedback and do the homework, all that good stuff. We can learn from each other, and we're all there to support one another.
Yep, for sure.
Yep.
Well, I just want to encourage you guys to keep taking consistent action, that productive daily action. That, again, when you're looking for feedback, that's productive action, right? It doesn't have to take long at all. It can be a minute, 30 seconds, and you are moving forward further and faster than if you weren't being intentional. So, it could be tending to your mindset. It could be clarifying what your reason is. It could be setting clear goals or embracing focus. What's the most important thing? Just those small steps that we take each day will lead to significant progress. I'm going to say this every time: action beats inaction every time. So like Kylene said, let's keep that conversation rolling over in the group over there, osg.link/group. But Becky, I know you talked about it at the front end, but maybe some folks that showed up late. What else is happening in the group?
The gratitude challenge is starting tomorrow morning. I am posting it the daily. We have 21 days. So the daily gratitude challenge will come out at 7:00 every morning for the next 21 days. And I would just love to have you guys, take that moment and use either the prompt that I give you to share your gratitude, or anything else that would be coming to you that you're grateful for that day. I would just love to see the vibration in the group go up that much higher with us. So and in that group, we have the power of community. So we're all in it together. We can share experiences, between business experiences, life experiences, the gratitude. We can all rise higher. So we just really want you guys to be engaged and either ask questions or go in and answer questions. Everybody has something that they can offer. Whether you think you do or not. Aaron and I actually had that conversation earlier today too, about not feeling like you have something to offer, and yet we do. We all do. Yep. And that is how I felt when I initially started the mastermind group a little over a year ago, about feeling like I didn't have much to bring to the table. And it is amazing to see that you do, yep. And to grow with that.
Week, you're right here bringing it to the table.
Here to the table, yes. So let's continue to build our supportive network, and remember that a rising tide lifts all boats. Next week, based on my post did I do it yesterday? I meant to do it Monday. It must have been yesterday. We're going to talk about cleaning our offices and the mindset of what that helps or hinders for that.
Awesome.
So
yeah. That was incredible transformation.
Yeah.
Hey, can I throw one more quick thing? I know we're in the bonus time here, but on that gratitude challenge, I just decided something. I'll do this. So if you are somebody that writes on all 21 posts, if you post your gratitude, doesn't have to be that day. You can come back at the last day and do all 21 if you had to. I don't really care. I think it's probably easier to just do them as they show up. But if you're somebody that writes on that post all 21 days, I will put your name into a random drawing, and I will send you a copy of the book. If you already have a copy of the book, we'll work something else out, maybe a free consultation or something. We'll find something of value for you too. But I think this, Becky, you've put the effort into putting this together, and I really want people to see the power of this. Kylene talks about this all the time. I've seen it. She's helped me install that in my life, and so I think this will be really transformative for folks. So let's make sure that we're all commenting. So get a chance to get a copy of the book, or like I said, if you've got a copy already, we'll figure something else out if you win that. Okay, sound like a plan?
Great. That's awesome.
All right. Well, everybody wants to talk to you, Becky. So let's get on out of here. And no, I know you got
Yes,
people.
I have a small child. Actually, it's not the small child; it's the big child. That's
child
messing with my camera.
Hi, Nick.
So.
All right. All right. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in, everybody. We will see you next week on Rising Tide Talks. And you guys all have a fantastic week out there. And we'll look forward to talking to you again next week.
All right, bye, everyone.
Have a good week.